In this episode of Contracting Conversations, we're talking to Leeann and Anne Renn to get a bird's eye view of what it takes to support Air Combat Command. We'll discuss challenges they faced in the remotely piloted aircraft maintenance program, learn why they embrace conflict with multifunctional teams, and work our way through a selection of motivating books to help them get their teamwork to dreamwork. I'm Scott Williams, along with my co-host Jim Valley, coming to you straight from our booth at the NEXUS 24 conference in Jacksonville, Florida. Hey, we're down at NEXUS in Jacksonville, Florida, and have the pleasure of talking to Leeann and Anne Renn from AMIC, and we'll let you guys introduce yourselves, tell us what you do there, and a little bit about the program you're working on.
Perfect. So Leeann, I'm the branch chief for contracting for our aircraft maintenance division.
I'm Anne Renn, the program manager for the remotely piloted aircraft maintenance support program.
So we are from AMIC, so it's the Acquisition Management and Integration Center. So we are the services acquisition provider for Air Combat Command and other DoD customers. So it's a $25 billion portfolio, 400 contracts, 61 different countries worldwide. So we're really here to kind of provide top-level support to Air Combat Command specifically for services.
Great. Could you tell us a little bit about your presentation and your team success, just a little bit what you're able to accomplish as you come into the conference?
Absolutely. So we are here to talk about a multifunctional team approach to the multifunctional team. So we like to give the visual of a three-legged stool. So, most of the time you have kind of stovepipes across the different functions. At AMIC, we try to get rid of the stovepipes. So it is really about having three legs to a stool that are equal partners. It's program management, quality, and contracting that all work together to provide our mission and to support our mission. So we try to get rid of all the stovepipes, get transparency across the different functions, and work together. So we kind of, again, use that three-legged stool terminology. The other piece of it is that we have other multifunctional team members outside of those three legs. We've got legal, we've got civil engineering, we've got logistics, we've got all kinds of functional team members that also support us, that provide us those expertise in those different areas. So we're here today to just talk about that, talk about our great approach, lessons learned, give the audience some tools for what they can do to specifically kind of mirror some of our approaches.
So what are some of those lessons learned that you guys have that would help teams that are here at NEXUS and also later down the road when they watch this video out in the out in the virtual world?
Okay, so lessons learned from me and from our team is that conflict is good. It's healthy. It's how you handle that conflict and how you move the team forward. Being willing to not know the answer, to not always being in control, and being able to say, hey, I didn't understand that. Could you repeat that? Or you used an acronym and I don't know what that means. To really just break down those barriers and build trust among the team members so that we can work more relationally with each other. So that's one of our, and then, we talked about lessons learned being charters, having a charter, team training, and actually, Leeann has some books here.
Oh yeah, we were going to ask about what the heck the books were sitting on the table.
Very nice.
Yeah, so part of the cross-functional training is really about understanding each other's roles, not necessarily being an expert in the other functional areas, but just getting enough knowledge so that you can speak the same language. You may not completely know the same words, terminology, but just getting exposed enough that you can collaborate together and you can have a conversation and talk the same language. So we do that through a couple different ways. Sometimes it's informally. For instance, Anne and her counterparts on the program management and the quality side, our cores, will actually take my contracting folks, myself and my colleagues, they'll take us out onto the flight line. So they'll actually show us what it means to actually work a particular technical order or something like that so that we know the language they're speaking. So when we have to execute a non-conformance, for instance, we know what that actually means. We know the part they're talking about. We know the requirement that they're talking about. So some of it's informal through like site visits. Sometimes it gets a little bit more formalized, and that will provide different training. So a good example of that was provided tech eval training. So typically that would go to the program managers because they're the ones typically drafting it. But in this one particular instance, we had our logistics folks that were also supporting the requirement. Very new to them, so they, don't typically get involved in our negotiations. We pulled them into the training, then they sat in on the training. Really value added, because then it allowed them to kind of understand the why for what we're asking of them. So big picture. And then speaking of the book specifically, one of the other things we really tried to provide the audience with today was a big focus of ours is accountability, and that's not just with our team members, but that's with ourselves. We have the most control over accountability for ourselves. So we provided some good books, so I'll just give some little shout outs to the books. The first one is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's not a new book, but it's a good one. I will tell you, definitely a little bit of a nerd when it comes to this stuff, but my team specifically was struggling with a couple of things, and so we did a book club. This was part of their job. They were supposed to read the book. We got together over lunch. We talked about it. We gave them Chick-fil-A, and we all sat together. And
so you bribed them.
Yeah, I bribed them, yes.
Oh, that's great.
But I will say, definitely bribed them. But I will say at the end of the day, though, a year later, we still have people quoting the book. Awesome. So impactful, makes a difference. So when you're starting to see a problem, figure out what your weakness is and find ways to improve it. The second one is Talking to Stranger. Big fan of Malcolm Gladwell. Talks about biases, how you interpret other people. The next one is the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. So, we talk about it's not just about saying what's wrong with the other team member, it's where you appreciate them too. It's the pros and the cons. It's, it's really appreciating them in a way that's meaningful to them, not just a thank you, but what appreciation can you provide that really sinks in for them and actually makes an impact. Oops, I'm throwing my books. Oh my gosh,
That's
I knew I was going to do it. The last one is the Urban Meyer's book.
Ohio State.
Yes, so all the Ohio State fans, I'm sure, thank you, sir. All the Ohio State fans, hopefully they've already read it, but really, really good book. And he talks a lot about how he forms his teams, how they fight together. Yeah, just really, really good books for self-development too.
Right, he was a lot better at beating Michigan.
I will not get into that.
So that was a big deal. So one thing you mentioned was the tech eval and the technical folks.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I mean, how often, do they do a source selection? So that's probably really smart to train them up before they actually have to do a tech eval.
Exactly. Yes, sir. It's ad hoc training. It's as we need it. It's, pulling a team together. Where are the deficiencies? Where are the learning curves? How can we get them beyond that learning curve as quickly as possible?
And then it reduces the risk of any kind of sustained protest.
Exactly.
Also.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yep. And no, you're absolutely right. And then, part of the other thing we talked about in our session today was the Tuckman model in terms of team development. So the forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning model. How do you get your team to get within that performing phase, and how do you get them to effectively stay within that phase? And so that really kind of brought in some of those ideas too, is, bringing the team members in so that we could develop the relationships and continue to perform.
And plus you always have the challenge of people being replaced, right?
Absolutely.
Because they don't stay there forever, and that
Yes.
adds a little challenge there, I'm sure.
You're absolutely right.
This is a great example. I'm a replacement. So I came into a team that had been functioning great for 15 years, very stable. And I came in, and now we're starting kind of over again and taking some lessons learned, learning some things together so that we have some common language and we build that trust and being able to work cross-functional.
Right,
So
building trust.
We want to reduce the stovepipes.
Yeah, and it's neat when you come into the team too, you bring some things in with yourself that you can share with the existing team and kind of build those relationships, which is, kind of what the theme of the conference is building relationships across functionals. And one question I'm going to ask you, we talked a little bit about that internal build, working with your industry partners. So those things that maybe some things that worked well with them and some things that you were able to achieve with your partners in a spirit of teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just talk top level. I'll tell you, for our contractors are absolutely a member of our multifunctional team. We cannot do what we do without them. We cannot succeed without them. And so, one, we really appreciate the support they provide us. Two, honestly, a lot of the techniques and things that we talk about internal to the government within our multifunctional team 100% apply to our contractors as well. So it's breaking down barriers, it's opening up communication, it's having honest conversations, it's accountability on both sides. Just because we're government doesn't mean we're always right. And so having that open communication so that you can work collaboratively together, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's one mission. We care about our mission, and that's really what's most important to us.
Working together to achieve that common goal that you have with your partner. So
exactly.
Awesome.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Outstanding. So we're about to end this episode. So is there anything you want the audience here at Nexus and online to get out of your experience?
Absolutely. So I think the one takeaway I have, and then I'll turn the stage over to Anne to conclude.
That's the word I was looking for.
Perfect. Is, there's a really good quote by Abraham Lincoln. So I'll set the stage. So he's talking to Mary Todd, and she's complaining about the South. She's talking about how they're backwards and all of these things. And his response to her is, and I apologize, I'm not going to quote it exactly because it's not right in front of me, but it's something along the lines of, they are what we would be if under the same circumstances. So really understanding where your counterparts are coming from. We are not enemies. We have a very shared important mission. So understand when you have conflict, where are they coming from? Why are they coming from that perspective? Because it's not that they're enemies. They're absolutely not enemies. If Abraham Lincoln can say that about people that he's actively fighting in a war, how are we fighting our partners, our own team members? So I think that's a really important takeaway, because at the end of the day, we all have an important mission. We have adversaries out in the world that we need to act more effectively together to actually operate effectively within that performing stage of development so that we can better support our warfighters. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing to me.
Right, and the team is a family, right?
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, sometimes we treat our own family
Yes.
worse than we treat, other people.
Yes.
But when it comes down to it and you need to get it going,
We have to work together.
yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you have anything you want to
I would just add that it's important that when you get into a disagreement with your family, it's really important for whoever's primarily leading the team, and at AMIC it tends to be the PM, but that you push through, you make sure that they continue their communication, you encourage them to continue that. And that's really the whole purpose of an MFT, is to bring that dialogue together, to work, because we're stronger together. And as John Maxwell said, not to be outdone with the quote, is that the smartest person in the room is not smarter than all of the people in the room. And that's really what the epitome of an MFT is.
Right. Outstanding. So thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having us. We
All right.
appreciate that.
Great. Thank you so much. So for the audience out there, thank you for watching. If you want to, please subscribe at DAU Media, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and like the video, especially if you want us to provide this type of content with other customers out there. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.